Today we are going to develop the cause of the 1905 revolutionary movement in Russia. Well, it all started with a general strike. There were some members of one of the most important unions in Russia who were fired from their job, and this resulted in a general strike. Who supported or who organized this general strike? A person that you know, Father Gapon. Father Gapon reunited approximately 20,000 men who were to the palace of the Tsar. They showed a great respect for the Tsar. They believed in the Tsar. In fact, most of them were carrying icons of the Tsar. They didn't want to overthrow the Tsar. That was not the objective of this revolutionary movement. However, when they went to the palace, that was on Sunday, January 22nd, 1905, the Tsar was not there. The Tsar was not in the palace. And the troops, the army, which were loyal to the Tsar, took a wrong decision, which were to shoot the demonstrators, and many of them died. That is called the Bloody Sunday of 1905. And that was the spark, the initial stage of the revolutionary movement of 1905. That why is that important? It is important because people lost respect for the Tsar since that moment. As I told you, they were carrying icons of the Tsar, and well, they were killed. They were massacred by the army. So people in general lost the respect they had for the Tsar, and this was a cause for the Russian Revolution of 1917. That was the first stage of the revolutionary movement of 1905 with Father Gapon. Remember that name. The second stage of the Russian Revolution occurred when with the general strike. It was approximately from January to August 1905 when the social groups were revolting in all parts of the country. The social groups that I mentioned are the social revolutionaries and the social democrats. There was a general strike. About 3 million workers participated in that strike. So evidently that was too much for the Tsar, and the general discontent was really very, very high in Russia. There were reactions on the parts of the Tsar and the army, and repression. Because what did people claim? What did these demonstrators claim? They claim that the Tsar created a Duma. What is a Duma? The Duma is the parliament. The parliament in Russian we say Duma. They wanted the Duma. Why do you think people wanted a Duma? They wanted a Duma in order to stop absolutism, because the Tsar was absolute. That was one of the petition people carried. Okay. Another important aspects of these general strikes of 3 million workers was the emergence of a nationwide peasant organization. If you remember, we talked about the different political parties that sprang in this revolutionary movement. And one of those political parties was the social revolutionaries. We said that it was a peasant party. So they became stronger and stronger, and it was practically impossible for the government to stop them. And when the Tsar saw that the strike was really, really high, he decided to make some concessions. Okay, so he saw so many people demonstrating that he thought for himself that a change was necessary. So what did he do? He created the Duma. Remember that the people wanted a Duma. He created a Duma, but only with advisory power. So the Duma did not have any legislative power, and that was not what people wanted. So the social revolutionaries that I have just mentioned continued with the riots. They continued rioting all over the country, and it was a threat for the Tsar and for the government in Russia. So with these continued riots, they decided to seize land from the lords, and they took the lands and gave them to the peasants. So it was like a kind of terrorism. And the workers, the proletariat, were also discontent. They were dissatisfied with the measures because the creation of the Duma was just a trick by the Tsar. Because remember, it only had advisory power, and only nobles could be part of the Duma. So the members of the peasantry and the proletariat could not vote or participate in any decision. So the workers were also dissatisfied with the creation of the Duma. So the third stage started. The third stage of this revolutionary movement started. And it was from September to October 1905, another general strike, but in this case it was not a strike organized by the peasantry, by the social revolutionaries. It was a strike organized by the workers, by the proletariat, because they were fed up with the situation. The advisors of the Tsar told the Tsar that the situation was really uncontrollable. So they advised the Tsar to do something. In the previous stage, remember, he had created a kind of legislative power with the Duma, but in this case, he signed a document, a kind of Bill of Rights, a kind of constitution. It was too short for a constitution, but it was called the October Manifesto. October Manifesto. It contained some rights for the workers and for the citizens in general. So this October Manifesto, the Tsar promised fundamental political civil liberties, such as freedom of speech, freedom of press, and freedom of religion. And also, he created not only the Duma with advisory power, but people could vote for a real Duma with legislative power. So it was kind of granting civil liberties and rights for the workers and for the peasants. So it was something that people had been claiming until that moment. But, well, it was not as people believed it was going to be, because it was everything a fake. At that time, it is said that Russia became a constitutional monarchy because the power of the king, of the Tsar in this case, was limited. But what happened? When elections were organized for the Duma, well, it was a great surprise, because this strike had been organized by the proletariat, by the workers. But when the elections took place, the ones who won the majority of the seats in the Duma were the left. That is to say, were the social revolutionaries, the member of the peasant party. So this was not absolutely convenient for the Tsar. So what did the Tsar do? As the majority of the seat had been granted by elections to the social revolutionaries, and the social revolutionaries, as you know, demanded the distribution of land. He, when I say he, the Tsar, decided to dissolve the Duma. So the October Manifesto became a dead letter. And at that time, the fourth stage of the 1905 revolutionary movement began. What was this stage? What did it happen in that stage? Well, we have the beginning of Leon Trotsky. That is to say, he appeared on stage. Leon Trotsky, remember this name for the Russian Revolution. He was the chairman of St. Petersburg. He was an independent socialist. That is to say, he was a member of the socialists, that is to say, the left, but he was independent. That is to say, he did not belong to any of the parts in which this party was divided. So he supported a general strike, and imagine a chairman of St. Petersburg. Well, he supported the strike, so it was a surprise for the government, and well, the strike unfortunately was easily suppressed. Why? Why was it easily suppressed? Because people, this happens in every country. When people know that there is a kind of change in the government, they feel satisfied. And at that time, with the October Manifesto, most Russians felt satisfied, but because they were not interested in what was happening in the country. Remember that the Duma was dissolved, so it was the October Manifesto became a dead letter. So as most Russians were satisfied with the previous changes, they did not participate in this strike. So the strike was easily suppressed by the Russian government, by the Tsar. And this was the end of the 1905 revolutionary movement. If you believe that it was a failure, I can tell you that it was not a failure, because the original objective of the 1905 revolutionary movement was not to overthrow the Tsar, but to gain more freedom and more welfare for the people, for Russia. Was this positive? Yes, it was positive, because it was like one of the most important consequences of this 1905 revolutionary movement is that it served as a dress rehearsal for the 1917 Russian Revolution. Why a rehearsal? Because Russians could witness how a general strike could make tremble a government. So it was like a dress rehearsal for the great revolution in Russia. Another important aspect to take into account is that Vladimir Lenin, another name that you must remember, followed the event inside Russia. He revised his revolutionary theory. Leon Trotsky saw the value of the use of a general strike to bring down a government. And another important aspect of the significance of the 1905 revolutionary movement was that the war with Japan, remember the Japanese-Russian war, gave the autocratic government, its coup de grace. So the Bloody Sunday, which was the starting point of this revolution, of this revolutionary movement, destroyed the image of the Tsar. When we talk about Trotsky, we cannot forget that Trotsky in the fourth stage was arrested. He was sentenced to life prison, and he was sentenced to exile in Siberia. But he escaped, obviously helped by members of the army that responded to the social revolutionaries and to the revolution itself. And when he escaped, he stayed away from Russia until the Russian Revolution started in 1917. This was the revolutionary movement of 1905. See you next class, in which we are going to talk about the Russian Revolution. We are going to talk about Tsarina Alexandra. We are going to talk about Rasputin, and we are going to cover the different topics of the Russian Revolution. Bye-bye. See you soon.